give a special thanks to our student body, our fans, our band. For about half of my coaching career, I've either been in the Southeastern Conference or the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference. That was as good of a student body around since I've been coaching. The energy was great. You know, the whole lower bowl and even the second bowl of the stadium was packed. It gave our kids energy. It gave our kids life. So it was really appreciated. The pep rally that we had on Friday, there was a ton of students there. The band played great as they do always. So that was pretty impressive to me for my first time being around it. With the hurricanes in Florida, I just want to say special prayers. We have a lot of family and friends that are down there. You know, I've coached for 3 different schools for 5 years in the state of Florida, so I've got a lot of special connections. A lot of our coaches and a lot of our players are from Florida, so just want to send special thoughts with them, what they're going through. A lot of them are still without power. Luckily, none of them were seriously damaged, but we just want to make sure we reach out and tell them how much you care about them. Scout Team Players of the Week. This is important to me. Toddy Centeo was the Scout Team Player of the Week playing quarterback, and obviously watching Villanova's quarterback, I think he's a special player. And Toddy did a really good job replicating him. On defense, it was Zach Mesdy, one of our defensive ends, and on special teams, it was Kevin DeCesar, the Scout Team Players of the Week, and they do a great job for us. They don't get a lot of the credit, but those guys on this football team are just as important as the quarterback throwing passes or Sharif Finch getting sacks. What they do on a daily basis is special. So we just want to recognize those 3 guys. The Apex Predators, Sharif Finch on defense, Keith Kirkwood on offense, and then Corey Lurch on special teams. And I know Boomeri did a great job for us and kicked the game-winning field goal. But what Lurch did the entire game, the selfless act of snapping lasers back there to the holder and back there to the punter, I think he doesn't get enough credit for how special he is and how much he contributes to this football team. And then I think it's already out there, but the jersey number 1 this week, it's a back-to-back defensive line and back-to-back defensive tackles, is Julian Taylor. So I think just how much he's grown. He's a kid that has had a career that's been plagued by injuries, but what he's done on a daily basis to get himself ready to play, how hard he works, how hard he competes, the leader that he's become for this football team, for the defense, for the defensive line room. I just can't say enough about how proud I am of who he is right now, and the honor that he gets to wear that number 1. I think special. And then another big point for me, this will be probably the first Friday night that I've played or coached in a long, long time, and I think that's pretty cool. You know, growing up, you want to play high school football, you want to be playing under those Friday night lights, and so we kind of get to go back to that a little bit and play on Friday night. I think it's going to be cool. Get to play in the link against a really good opponent. But I think we've talked a little bit to the guys this week. All of them remember what it's like to play on Friday nights, how special it is, just the atmosphere that's surrounding high school football. And then now you're doing the same thing at a college level, big-time program. I think it's pretty cool. So I'm excited about it. Obviously, being in front of our fans, student body, I know they're going to come out and support us. I know the fan base is going to come out and support us. And just playing at the link on a Friday night, I think is going to be an awesome experience. And then the respect that I have for UMass as a football program, what Coach Whipple has done, who he is as a play caller on offense. So last year we played with the University of Florida, and it was an absolute pain. The formations, the shifts, the personnel groupings. Our defensive GA, William Green, who was with us, he still has nightmares about it. So I FaceTimed him last night and showed him a clip of UMass on the TV, and he started having post-traumatic stress syndrome because it is a difficult offense to prepare for. And, so I have a healthy respect for him. I know our players do, haven't played them in the past. What tough competitors they are. Really good football team. So I know our kids understand the challenge that we have for them on Friday night. It's been a different week for us. It's a 6-day week, so the entire week. So yesterday was a Tuesday. Today's a Wednesday. We play Friday night, but that's really Saturday. So the whole, I had to remind the kids after practice, today's a Wednesday, but the class schedule's a Tuesday. Yesterday we had a Tuesday practice, but but it was Monday class schedule, so just making sure we wrap that around our preparation and what we do to get ready for a game. So, any questions?
From the offensive line and defensive line perspective, after watching the tape, what did you see out of you guys?
Sure. Well, I thought the defensive line really controlled the game, especially in the run game. Did a really nice job, fit our gaps really, really clean, because obviously that was a big point of contention for me a week ago versus Notre Dame. And I thought the defensive line came out there and really controlled the line of scrimmage. And when we needed to generate pass rush, they were able to make the switch and to convert into pass rush mode. So I was really proud of them. I said all week last week that Villanova is such a unique defensive schematic formation that it gives you some issues. And I don't know if we were as clean with our IDs and our points in the run game. And that's something that we really focused on this week from an offensive line perspective. Just making the right IDs, making the right mic call, and then working together to that point. I don't know if we were as clean in the run game as I know we would have liked to have been. And all those things are points that we will correct, and we have been correcting all week moving forward.
How does it feel to grind out a win like that?
Yeah, and that's a good football team. Really is a good football team. And I think historically that game has been, either way. And, it's a really good team, but I thought our kids fought. And then even going back to Notre Dame, it wasn't a lack of effort. Our kids play hard. They play physical. They play tough. And really, the neat thing about us is, and you guys have come to our practices, we play so many situations. We play probably more 2-minute situations than a lot of teams in the country. And so at the end of the first half, our offense goes on a 2-minute before the half drive, gets 7 points. Then we go at the end of the game. Our offense has to go on a 2-minute drive to get the game-winning field goal. Then the defense has to go out there and play 2-minute to win the game. They didn't panic. They've been in that situation so many times. We've already played 2 2-minute drills this week. It's what we do. So we're prepared for every situation. And so when the kids getting those, getting those critical situations, they don't panic. And I thought that was a real testament to them. Even when the defense was running out onto the field at the end of the game, like, Coach, we got you. Coach, we got you. And they went out there and they played the situation. They even tried a hook and ladder on the second play, at the end of the game. Our kids didn't panic. They leveraged the ball because we practiced that situation a ton of times, and they rallied and made some huge stops.
So looking back at the film, how would you kind of evaluate Logan's performance, and it will be his start again this Friday?
Yeah, I thought he did some really nice things. Again, they were dropping 8 a bunch. And just finding those windows and then taking what they give him. There was probably a couple of times he probably could have taken a couple more checkdowns than he did, but I still think his composure, his leadership, the way he managed the offense, the way he managed the game, I thought it was impressive. And he's our guy. But the other guys, I think you guys might have been out there too. There were some other guys that got reps, up with versus the scout team today. I think all 4 quarterbacks got reps against the scout team today. Because we're going to keep getting every single kid on this team ready. If you're above the line, you're going to prepare every single day like you're going to play. So that's the way we treat it at every position, not just quarterback.
So even since he started the past two games, you're not like naming him the true starter yet?
We don't do that with anybody.
Geoff, you guys have given up quite a bit of yards in the air. Does that concern you at all? And what do you think you can do to kind of improve on that?
Right. Well, the big thing we stress in the big plays, defending the big plays, we have a explosive and turnover differential that we talk about. And actually against Villanova, we were -1 in that differential. Against Notre Dame, we were -5 in that differential. So creating turnovers, denying explosive plays, and then on offense, getting explosive plays is a huge priority for us. And I think there were probably 3 times where we were in a stressful coverage against quads offense. So they were in a quads formation, which really stretches you, especially if you've got a mobile quarterback. So what they would do is they would send 4 guys vertical, and then if we overloaded that, then the quarterback would run the ball. So when you didn't overload it and you protected the run because he's such a good quarterback, that field number 1, there's not a lot of quarterbacks that can make that throw. This kid at Villanova can make that throw, and that got us twice. So those were 2 of the explosive plays. So just limiting those is a huge priority for us.
Do you call an explosive play, 10 yards?
So runs are over 12, passes are over 16. That's how we do it. That's the same thing we did at Alabama and Florida and all those things. So runs over 12, passes over 16.
Clearly, you've been around football for a long time, but this is new to you being a head coach. First 2 games in, just how do you evaluate, your job as head coach?
Yeah, I think the second game I was much better. The first game I told you before that, being a coordinator for so long and kind of getting in that fighter pilot mentality where everything's small, reduces down, and you're making 1,000 key critical decisions on calls. You're kind of in your own head. And in this past game, I got out of my head and I was able to just manage the game, have energy, have juice, positively affect the play callers, positively affect the team. So I thought I was more engaged, which I need to be as a head coach. As a coordinator in the SEC, you don't have to do that. You just make the third down call, make the goal line, all those things. So I thought that was much better. I think the team responded. We also made up our juice boys. So if you saw the sidelines, our sideline was going nuts. Jordan Barber, one of our strength coaches, and Kyle Seeger are the leaders of the Juice Boys, and they get them going. So if you're on the non-travel, whenever it's a money down situation, whenever it's a kickoff return, they're going absolutely nuts on the sideline. I didn't think we had that kind of energy and juice versus Notre Dame. We did on Saturday, and you watched the film, and we graded it. Who had the most energy, who had the most juice. When we showed the tape to the team, we pointed out the guys that were providing energy and juice to the team because that's important to me.
I know you talked about Florida a little bit, but could you just go more about that? Who have you been in contact with and stuff like that?
Yes, we FaceTimed all the whole coaching staff of Florida last night. And then our family and friends that are down there, we've reached out to them. We talked to all of our players that have family and just made sure everybody's okay, everybody's stable, and if they need anything. So,
Geoff, getting Ventel back, how much does that not only help, obviously, having him out there, but how much does that open things up a little more for Keith and Isaiah and everybody else?
Yeah, I think Ventel's a dynamic player, and I've been really pleased with how he's approached the game since he's been back healthy. His leadership, his approach to the game, and you guys weren't out there. But, we limit him on special teams, and we've done that, because of the past things that he's had to deal with. He's out there running down on scout kickoff. He's a gunner on our scout punt team, or he's a gunner on our scout punt team. There's not a lot of places that kids do that. And he's out there just trying to make, if Linwood comes out there playing the corner on the punt return team, he's working him, right? Because if you can stop Ventel, he's one of the elite receivers in college football, then everybody gets better. So I've been proud of how he's approached the game, how he works, those kind of things.
You said Raquel was banged up. We had 12 carries on Saturday. Is he going to be more healthy for Friday? And is there like an estimated carry count you want to get at?
That depends on how we practice during the week. So everything's, he just was. The reason he didn't get the start was because last Wednesday we had to limit him. And if on Wednesday you're not, taking a ton of reps, it's going to be hard to start you. We love him, we care about him, and he's a big part of this program. And, however he does in practice throughout the week, and that's the entire week, all the way through our Friday walkthroughs or Thursday walkthroughs this week, determines how many carries, how many plays.
Geoff, you're not averaging many yards per carry. How concerned are you with the running game?
I thought versus Notre Dame, we ran the ball really, really well when we wanted to, when the situations were there. And then this past week, I don't think we ran the ball as well as we want to. And a lot of that had to do with some misidentifications of the front that I talked about. But I have complete confidence in them. We've got 3 really good tailbacks, and we've got probably the best fullback in college football, Nick Sharga, who also does an unbelievable job on special teams. Every single Thursday that we have practice, we have what we call Thursday races. We line up the kickoff team, all 11 of them, and they run as fast as they can down the field. And so we do the Thursday races, and whoever wins. Well, typically, and this isn't throwing shade at Nick because he's a great kid, great player. He's typically 8th or 9th, of the 10 guys that are sprinting down the field. But when you go out on game days, he's 1st or 2nd down the field, just because he understands how to play the game, the speed of the game. So I've just been, more than impressed with Nick Sharp and what he does for this football team on special teams and on offense. But the run game, I feel very confident in. That's something we have to rely on, and then take our shots when we need to downfield.
Geoff, how much of an improvement did you see in the young linebackers on Saturday?
Yeah, I thought they did a really nice job. And again, there were 6 that played in the game, and just the way they were able to. They're really, really fast. They're really, really athletic. they were able to slow themselves down to make sure they were fitting the right gaps. We do a lot of things where we do some stunts, some run game stunts, that they have to make the call based on backfield set, tight end sets, all those kind of things. Did a great job, much better job with that on Saturday than they had the previous week. So I think that group's going to be really, really special in the future, and I think in the near future.
What did you think about Chappelle Russell at that linebacker group? He played against
Notre
Dame,
well.
but he started against Villanova.
Yeah.
So what did you see about what earned him to get that?
The way he practiced, the way he was playing assignment football all week. We test, we evaluate everything. There's statistical metrics on every single thing we do in this program. Production-wise, effort-wise, our guys wear these catapult systems, which have accelerometers, so they know exactly how far they're running, how fast they're running, number of distance sprints traveled, and the way he practices at such a high level is special. He knows all of his assignments, and he did that consistently through the week, so he got the nod, and then that can change every single week. It's all based on performance and practice, and then obviously what you do on game days, but you've got to do it in practice because that's everything around here.
What did you see from UMass that could present a lot of challenges for you guys?
They have a ton of personnel groupings. They have a ton of formations, shifts, tackle over, unbalanced. They create a lot of issues and a lot of problems if you don't recognize it. So it's going to be huge again for our linebackers to recognize when they go tackle over, to recognize condensed formations, to recognize the backfield widths and depths, and do it in a very timely manner to make the right decisions and the right calls. So they create a lot of stress for defense play callers and for players as well by the multitude of things that they do. And they've got good players on top of it too. The tailback's really good. The quarterback, there's two that play. The tight ends, I got to imagine he's arguably as good as any tight end there is in the country. And his numbers back that up. And they've got a really big physical offensive line as well.
Was there any question who you're sending out for that field goal with a minute left? Or was it straight Aaron Boomer?
It was based on our numbers throughout the week and our numbers in pregame. Our numbers said it was going to be Boone. So it's all based on numerical data that we use.
Is the plan to keep that rotation going with Bumeri and Austin?
Depends on the distance. It depends on the game. I'm sure that's going to get boring to you guys. I apologize for it. The absolute truth.
There was so much talk about the last time you guys played Notre Dame, and the last time this team played UMass. I know the players are different. It was down to the wire game. Does that maybe have those players that were there send the message to some of the younger guys you can't underlook at?
Yeah, but I don't think you can do that in college football anymore, regardless of who your opponent is and regardless of who you are. Whether it be a Saturday night, a Friday night, a Thursday evening, you got to bring your A game every week. And I think that's a testament of how we run this program. Everything we do in this program matters. Every single game. There's no opponent that sets precedent over anybody else. We have to handle our business every single day, every single game, and put out our best performance in everything that we do. And when you do that, you get rewarded. So like Chappelle Russell, every single day you got to bring your A game. Well, if Chappelle Russell does that and is performing at a high level and you reward him, then that sends a message. That's how we do our business, and that's the way we do it. So you might see different starters every single week at every single position, and that's okay. That means everybody's having to elevate their game on a daily basis. There's nothing given around here because life doesn't give you anything. You have to go earn every single thing that you get, and I think that's a message for this football team. I think that's a message for life.
Regarding the running game, with how you guys haven't really been able to establish it as much as you would like to, how important is that for you guys to get that going with Logan, just starting his first two games, have him ease?
Let's revisit that question. So we got down early against Notre Dame. We had a couple of big plays that kind of got us out of being able to do that. I thought versus Notre Dame, when we wanted to run the ball, we ran the football. And so that is who we are. That's what we want to do. On Saturday, the game, we were ahead of the game, but just weren't generating the movement that we wanted to with some of the miss IDs. That will be corrected, and we're going to run the football.
How much might Logan be incorporated into the running game going forward?
Yeah, we've talked about that. It's a great question. We have actually talked about that. I think we have, 4 guys that can play at a high level. And I think Logan, that is part of his game that hasn't been utilized as much the first 2 games. And that is something that we've discussed. I can't say a lot more than that, but that is something that has been heavily discussed within this building. And I think that's kind of who he is, too. You saw him scramble on Saturday. He really is a nifty runner. He's very athletic. And unlike a lot of quarterbacks in college football, he throws really well on the run as well. So that's something that moving forward is going to be, explored and expanded. That's a really good question.
When you said 4 guys, who are you referring to specifically?
The quarterbacks.
The 4 quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.